To me, my California West Coast family, even though not all of you are from California.
Got you on every coast, Marco.
This program is unique in what it's done for me. It took me from a place where I thought I knew who I was as an artist, and it completely transformed me. It recreated the way I thought. And this work, this body of work, is a result of that. Where's Dave Carlson? Dave Carlson, most of you that are actually in the summer program now, first year, it was his 100-piece project which changed my work. Absolutely changed my work. I was very formal, two-dimensional, formalist, figurative artist, and his project completely changed that. Went completely abstract, went three-dimensional. In the program, I started learning different ways to express it. I learned how to weld. I learned how to mold make. I learned how to program, microprocessors, all in the 3.5-year point. And my professors never stopped me. They said, Marco, you can do it. If you have your heart set on it, you can accomplish it. And so this is a culmination of that body of work, of all the years that I applied myself to learn new techniques and apply new skills, and applying all the experience that I had in exhibit design and fabrication. I wanted to create a space that was unique, that was experiential, that was immersive, and try to hide the space somehow, and give you something that you haven't seen before in the space. And I'm hoping that I did that. The work itself is a result of a journey that I've been on with my own health, and my wife as well. In 2001, if you started walking down the pathway, I put some stanchions with basically my testimony of how I went through cancer. Well, in 2001, I was diagnosed with leukemia, with promyelocytic leukemia, and I was 33 years old at the time. And my youngest child was 1.5, and here I was facing death. If I could survive the first 2 weeks of my treatment, the doctor said I'd be in great shape, because there was good treatment for the type of cancer that I had. But I was hemorrhaging. I was bleeding out, and they had to stop the bleeding. So they couldn't start the chemotherapy until they stopped the bleeding. And so from the first sign that you read is 37 feet to the next sign. And that number 37 was fairly important to me because I received 37 transfusions during my treatment process. So every 37 feet, you read another post. There was 37 people that gave blood. And I remember, and I said, Marco, how do you remember 37? Because every time they put a new bag of blood up there on the IV pole, I wondered of the person who gave me that blood. So there were times where I felt like having a smoke because my cousin used to smoke, or uncle used to smoke, and his blood bag is up there, and I said, man, I feel like having a cigarette. And then of course start laughing and whatnot. But this journey of the work is a result of that process. Last year, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so there was a question that happened last summer in one of our classes. I believe it was integration with Bill Catling, and he asked the class, at which point did you feel called to be an artist? What was the point that you felt called to be an artist? And I've always been an artist for as long as I can remember, but there's a certain point where you decide this is what you were created to be. This is what you are. And for me, that was in 1998, or 2008, I'm sorry. In 2008, when I was in the hospital, I realized when I was getting my stem cell transplant, why I was on this earth was to create and to be an artist. And it was up until that point, I was doing art, but I never felt that I was called to be an artist. And when I felt that call to be an artist, that's when the shift to start looking towards completing my degree and advancing my understanding of who it is that I'm supposed to be as an artist. And so this is a result of not only my cancer journey, but also that process. Now the reason why I have the cancer represented, I wanted to show that there was beauty that came out of this tragedy. See, because cancer, as tragic as it is, it's beautiful because certain things happen during tragedy that don't happen any other time. My marriage got stronger. People that I never felt support of before are now supporting us, either financially or writing notes, and the love of other people, of community happens during that period of tragedy. And so I wanted to show in this work, when you're looking at one of the panels that represents the breakdown of a urethrocyte cell or a blood cell, that you're looking at this and you say, wow, this is beautiful, but you're actually looking at cancer and saying that it's beautiful. And there is a beauty and there's a duality to that process, a duality to tragedy. There's a horrible side of tragedy and the beautiful side of tragedy. And so with that, I want to open it up to any questions you might have about the work or anything that you see. Anybody? Come on, I couldn't have said everything. Yeah.
How did you choose what colors to go in the panels?
Well, the panels are pretty, the LED strips that run the lights on it, they run a full spectrum. So you can choose the order of what colors they go through. And so I just picked an order that was going to be complementary to each other in the process. But you could program them to come into certain colors, but I just used the standard programming that was on the LED strip. Anybody else?
Can you talk about the sound a little bit?
Oh, I thought about the sound a lot. At first I said I wanted the sound of a heartbeat, kind of like you were inside the heart, like a sonogram kind of sound. But after I tried it in the space, I felt it was a little overkill. So I wanted to create more contemplative and, kind of meditative sound in the space, and I thought this was the best fit. Yeah.
Marco, were you looking for a print like your vinyl things, or did God just bless you with it out of the blue?
Well, I was looking for a print. I wanted to make the viewer feel like they were going inside the body, right, to experience this. And so I wanted you to be part of this blood flow process. And so to do that, I created this print from a photograph, and I just multiplied it, created a wallpaper, so to speak, and I just printed it. It's on vinyl. Anybody else? Yeah. Jim.
How does this contribute towards the arts in the university, and what does do you think it even makes a contribution? I'm curious.
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of what my thesis was about is about blood as metaphor, and how blood, the power of blood as metaphor. And looking at Susan Sontag's literature back in 1979 when she wrote her book, Illness as Metaphor, she kind of set the tone for the discussion of metaphor being a cultural force to change society and how we look at metaphor. And so I wanted to kind of springboard off of that concept of metaphor as a conversation, a point of conversation, for blood to be a point of conversation for this metaphor to be expressed. And blood has been used in rituals and all kinds of spiritual beliefs and practices for millennia. So I think, in light of that, I think I'm just continuing a conversation that's already been had. Anybody else? Well, with that, I thank you. Thank you for spending the time and enjoying my work. Thanks.